Tampa, and I'm here to talk to her about what College and Nannies and Tutors in South Tampa provides in terms of child care service and tutoring service. Hi, Corey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Glad that we could get together today.
Me too.
So,
Absolutely.
so tell me a bit about your background, about the College Nannies and Tutors.
Well, my background is that I used to work in the corporate world, and as I started having children, I was putting my children through childcare, different variety of things that me and my husband had tried. And over time, just started to realize that the care that we were receiving in external avenues just wasn't exactly the right thing for us. So at the time, my business partner, now my mother, happened to be retiring, and she has a love for children. And seeing things that I've gone through, we decided that doing our own business was something we wanted. Love of children was something that we enjoyed, and we stumbled upon College Nannies and Tutors. And so that kind of is how we got into having this. We've now been around in the Tampa area for about 4 years.
Okay, so it sounds like personal experience sort of led you into doing what you're doing. And
Yeah.
what was it? What is it specifically that makes College Nannies and Tutors different than the other services?
College Nannies and Tutors is different and stands apart from other specifically nanny agencies. It also stands apart tutoring wise as well, but looking at the nanny side first, in the sense that we like to build relationships. So we build relationships with our nannies, all of our staff, as well as our families. All of our nannies are our employees. The biggest benefit that people gain protecting the family and the nanny from anything that goes on. We take care of all payroll processing, so the family doesn't have to worry about anything. They get all their tax information. Everything is just an easy flow. The nannies are protected. We have insurances that help as well. So everybody has a stable and as far as where they're working, and building the relationship aspect, we help make sure that the families and the nannies are happy building their relationships that they have, because they have an ongoing day-to-day connection. So we're there to help support that. The tutoring side is unique in this, and that's our specialty. And remote tutoring is, we simply have tutors on staff who specialize in certain areas, and then those tutors will come to the family to provide the tutoring. We don't have a program for them to follow. They work with the student and the parents to determine what their needs are specifically, and from that, then they build their program just for that student. So it's very personalized is what we do.
Sounds like that. It sounds like, so when we talk about what makes College Nannies and Tutors in South Tampa more appealing, it sounds like the fact that it is very personalized, and that with the tutoring part that it's on location for the client. Is there anything more that you would add to what would be more appealing?
I think just really the overall sense of relationships, and we strive ourselves on customer service. I myself, being a mother of 4 young children, I definitely can relate to the families that we serve. As I mentioned, my business partner happens to be my own mother. We are a very tight-knit group. Our family manager, Jamie, she has grown with the company from, being a nanny to being in the position she is. So we strive to build solid, strong relationships with everybody we encounter. And I think that that is essential when it comes to the business at hand, which is children.
I have had experience myself with my children having to use nannies, and it was always a very difficult process. and the fact of personalization and that type of involvement is priceless, because that's really, you are working with the most precious asset that people have, and that's their children. So I think it's a fantastic approach to problem-solving the issues that women are working, and they're working out of the home, and we really want to leave our children with people who we know, like, and trust. So now, is there one specific specialty over another of your nanny service or your tutoring service that you could say stands out from any of the other services you offer?
Something I guess that stands out for our services is, well, with the nanny side, what we do is to make that experience is that we have personalized family meetings. So we come to your home after initial phone conversation to kind of get a rough feel for what you're looking for. We come to your home and we have a discussion of what you truly are looking for, what you feel would be the best for your family. We discuss what options we have that we know that we can work with, and then from there we do lots of communication, maps and profiles of experiences and things like that that we share with you as the family, to really set us apart and to let you get that personal experience. Everyone is selected based upon the family's criteria as well as our criteria in what it is that we're looking for. Tutoring is very similar in that we have a phone conversation to specifically get that feel of what it is that is needed. And the same thing, we provide experiences and photographs and things like that to help the families narrow down and determine who will be the best fit.
There's something that you said that jogged my memory from me talking with Carol, and that is the fact that you go and you make this first meeting and you make this good first fit, but it doesn't end when you fit the family to the nanny. It continues. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, once the nanny starts work in the family's home, from that perspective, then what occurs is a couple make sure that they're happy if they have any questions, problems, concerns, anything at all. And then we're also doing the same with the family. So we're contacting them to find out how they feel things are going. Once that initial conversation has occurred, we hear that everything is essentially great. The same follow-up, however, this time it might be, a month out or so, like that. So basically we'll stretch our time, so therefore we can have the nanny and the family continuously build their strong relationship. However, we're constantly checking in. The other nice thing is that we remind the family as well as the nanny that we're their backup. So for example, if the nanny was to get sick, dealing with children, that happens a lot. If the nanny gets sick and is unable to make care for whatever reason, then they notify us. We notify the family. The nanny also is encouraged to notify the family directly, but we will find a replacement. So that way the family knows that they will have care and they'll always have somebody coming to provide support until their regular caregiver can return.
And that is such a big,
I think, knowing that.
Yeah, it actually really is. It's a very big deal for professionals to know that you have that sort of backup, and that's unique to you guys, correct?
Absolutely, I think so. Because a lot of agencies, they, provide solid, good, strong nannies. Yet, again, having the nannies as our employees at College Nannies and Tutors, we have that luxury to have built-in backups, so to speak. We're not providing one person and then walk away. We're really solidifying, building strong relationships. And also, ultimately, what we do is build stronger families.
Very nice. Now, what can a new client expect with their first experience? I know I've had some conversations with Carol about the concepts of nanny care and what nannies, do with the kids, or what happens in tutoring?
I think as far as the initial, expectation is, first, like I said, we have the family meeting and get a feel for that. Once a nanny has been selected, basically through an email that they get, the family gets. Once that process has begun, then the nanny is required to make a phone call to the family. Their phone call is going to reconfirm so they're going to reconfirm a scheduled meeting or interview. We can do meetings anywhere from 15 minutes up to about 45 minutes free of charge, included in the service. And that way what it's doing is it's allowing both sides to get to know each other. We strongly believe that everybody should have a good feel for the expectations required. So we want the nanny to ask questions. What is expected of me, the nanny, by that family? They need to feel comfortable and confident. If they don't, then that relationship's not going to work. And so then also we're expecting the family as well to provide questions to the nanny to make sure that they understand what's expected of them as a family as well, to build that relationship. So I think that's involved within that first experience. Once the phone conversation and the physical meeting has occurred, everybody works together to determine a start date, and then the nanny shows up, provides care. Care lasts anywhere from roughly 3 hours to longer, depending on what the family has chosen to do for their first time. Families are encouraged to be at home the first day as well, if necessary. Therefore, again, they can actually see the nanny in action. So ask questions, provide tips on what works for their children and their family to help, again, solidify building that relationship and making things comfortable for everybody.
And I have to insert one other question here. Can you just speak a little bit about how College Nannies and Tutors of South Tampa handles training the nannies, and how you guys guide your nannies? Because childcare is not straightforward always, and the more trained someone is, obviously, the better they'll be able to handle the various situations. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Corey?
Sure, absolutely. The biggest thing that we do is all nannies that are hired have experience. And in order to verify that they have experience, is that we contact every reference that this person has provided. So the overall process that we go through is that every nanny first conducts a phone interview in order to get hired. Once they pass the phone interview, then we do a face-to-face interview, and they meet with partner or Jamie, our family manager. So therefore, there's a personal connection there within that. So they do the face-to-face interview. We complete background screen, including drug testing on all of our nannies. We also do sex offender searches nationally, as well as criminal searches nationally on every candidate. And we contact a minimum of 3 references. The references must be related to child care. So even if they've worked in the corporate world or done something else, that is great. However, we need to see the child care references as well. Then once all of that occurs and the nanny comes on board, then we have our own personalized training. So they conduct a variety of online training, anything from reminders of just basic child care, do's and don'ts of things like that, to shaken baby, to tips on safety in general of children, sunscreen usage, for example. A variety of information they're required to complete and pass with 100% each of these training videos. Also, every nanny is required to have CPR and first aid certification. They may be hired and they may begin working with experience in CPR and first aid. However, over time, we will help them to provide resources and things like that to regain current certification in CPR and first aid. And we're also constantly looking at new avenues for training. So therefore, it's not just an initial thing when they come on board, but ongoing long-term. we always are looking for new ways to help, in what they do.
Sounds like it's extremely well planned out. So I really, having used nannies in the past, I wish that I had you guys around when my kids were little. Can you provide some tips people would appreciate about, I'm serious, it was a very hard thing to find placement, and it was always constant pressure as a mom to feel that security, and everything you're describing are elements that are so important to the process of childcare. And so in a sense what you guys provide, in addition to servicing in terms of nanny service, but peace of mind. So can you provide a few tips to people, a few tips people would appreciate about college nannies and tutors of South Tampa?
Really, I think some tips to keep in mind really is just remembering and knowing that, you are a mom or you are a dad. You know in your heart what you want and what you know works for your family and for your child. I think keeping those kinds of things in mind and portraying that to whoever, whether it's myself you're talking to at College Nannies and Tutors, keeping those kinds of things in mind, I think ultimately helped. There's no question that is a bad question. Every question should be asked. And we highly encourage family, the staff here or the nannies themselves, ask every question, because what you don't ask is what you don't know going to be what's key to that ultimate relationship. And I think that's really the bottom line, and we're here to help. We've got a list of standardized questions that we can provide, help people kind of start to think really, and get off the ground. So I think that's all it comes down to. The biggest tip is you know what you want, and that's what you need to portray to us, and we're here to get you what you want.
And I know that being a mom yourself makes you a bit of an expert on the topic in conversation, especially coming from the corporate world, coming from needing the services that you're now providing. So great advice. And
yes.
To close this, I'm going to ask you: can you share what is the biggest thing you've learned about building a business over the 4 years that you've been in business?
The biggest thing I would have to say honestly is communication. I think that is true in every aspect, whether it's me and my mom, having our business conversations in one respect, to communicating with our staff. One thing I've realized is you really have to encourage open door policy, so to speak, as far as that goes with communication. And then again with the families is I have to be open, and truly be able to express my feelings. If I feel I cannot provide something to someone, I'm going to tell them. As hard as it might be, being open and honest in business, for any kind of relationship, customer to customer or customer to staff, and myself to employee, that's the biggest key, I think.
I have to agree with you 100%, and I know from myself and my experience, communication and setting expectations are key to successful relationships. So, Corey, I think you've provided a great deal of information about College Nannies and Tutors of South Tampa. I think you're providing a fabulous service for professional working parents to have really dependable, reliable childcare, which is invaluable. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything.
Okay, bye.